We're talking to local addiction consultant Robb Kelly.
Mind and emotion in your life right now, or is it just strictly a matter of peer pressure and it seems like the whole world is out there having a party that you can't join?
That's a great question. You know, it's part of both, really. I mean, I know that for me, I have a background for being an alcoholic that's, devastated a lot of people in the past. It was many years ago. And that's still a sad time for me. So come the holiday periods when everybody's celebrating, I remember my family back home, my children, that's through this horrible disease that devastates as well. So it's a sad time for me. On top of that as well is, everybody wants to celebrate and they just want to give old Rob just one drink to get him into the party mood. And of course, as an alcoholic, I can't do that. It's very, very dangerous. One of the things that we've been doing over the last 10 years is trying to educate people on the disease of alcoholism, because there's a difference between a heavy drinker and a party goer and an alcoholic. One's a sick person, one just goes out to have fun.
We're talking to local addiction consultant Robb Kelly, who is also co-host of the show Talking Sober, which can be heard at 11 p.m. right here on Saturday nights on KLIF. And Rob, what advice do you have for those with a drinking problem on how to handle the New Year's Eve celebrations, especially if you are going to a party?
There's some great rules that I always adhere to, and these are as follows. First of all, make sure you have a legitimate reason to be at any occasion that people invite you to. Don't place yourself in the middle of a party or an occasion where you're going to be isolated. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. We isolate ourselves even with company. So don't put ourselves in a bad situation. Make sure you've got a legitimate reason to be there. One of the most important rules that I adhere to is watch that drink coming across the bar, guys. If you're ordering orange juice or Coke or whatever it may be, just watch it come across the bar and keep an eye on it all night, because you'll get the party goer that'll just want to slip one drink in just to get you in the mood. And of course, we can't do that. And most importantly for me, I let everybody know around me that I don't drink. For whatever reason I will give. I might be in training, I'm on medication. This is life or death for me. So I will tell them anything that evening to make sure that my party group knows that I don't drink, and it's not just a case of not drinking tonight. I don't drink, period, because I'm allergic to alcohol.
Rob, is there still a stigma attached to alcoholism that you don't find with other types of problems that people have?
Yeah, definitely. And once again, what a great question. This is the things that I'm passionate about. What a stigma attached to it. If God forbid, if I had cancer or something, everybody would feel sorry for me. I'd be getting flower baskets at hospital. Because I'm an alcoholic, I don't. I get frowned upon, and people just think it's a case of pulling yourself together. If only you could just tell that one thing, you'd be okay. And, grow up, be a man. And it's nothing to do with that. Alcoholism has very little to do with alcohol being safe whatsoever. Just because my friend drinks a lot of alcohol doesn't make him an alcoholic. It's completely different. And once again, it comes down to education. So we've been trying to lift that stigma. I know over the years I've worked with some high-profile people, and they've actually come out and said, I have a problem with substance abuse and alcohol, which is great. We want to raise the profile of it's not a dirty disease. It's not a no-go we can't talk about, guys. This is 1 in 3 people suffer from the disease I suffer from. Everybody knows somebody that suffers or has a problem with drink or drugs. It's crazy. And if you don't know anybody, it's probably yourself.
When should you seek help? I mean, when do you determine that you're just not a social drinker anymore and you really are an alcoholic?
I go by the golden rule is once you take that first drink, can you stop? And what that means is if I'm going to a bar with people and I take the first pint or the first drink or the first liquor drink and I want to stop all of a sudden and go home, I test myself by doing that in the early days. And the time when I couldn't stop drinking, once I started, I couldn't stop. After time, you have a problem. Look out. My family should look out for, we do a lot of work with teenagers. You should look out for isolation. You should look out for mood changes, anything like that. Because as alcoholics, that's the path. The path is always the same when we start to have a drink problem. Is we are the last person to know about that drink problem. But if you think you've got a drink problem, if you're going out and you're drinking too much, or you're set to go out and drink 2 or 3 and you end up drinking 10 and getting wasted, next week go out and drink 2. After the 2, get up and go home. If you can't do that, it's an indicator that you just might have a problem with alcohol.
Hey, Rob, I got another question about New Year's Eve. As you said, it's probably best for a recovering alcoholic to just kind of stay away from harm or any possibility that might cause him or her to start drinking. But is it a bad idea to ask a member of your family or a friend to come along to the party and be my designated driver?
I think designated driver is the word you should be looking for as far as I'm concerned. But an accountability buddy is always great to take if you're going to go to these occasions. But just be in mind that, you're there to have fun. You're there because, you've been invited there. And alcohol doesn't come into it. But, we don't need a designated driver, but we do need an accountability buddy. Something that's taken off over the last, I would say, 10 years, we do a lot of, is sober coaching, which is primarily for occasions like this. You've been invited to an occasion, you're nervous, because we get nervous about going to these occasions, I mean, you're getting a group of people, and I have one person there say, I don't drink, and the whole group of people comes to a halt, and everybody looks at you and says, what do you mean you don't drink? So the peer pressure is phenomenal. So any insurance we can take out on ourselves to keep ourselves in a safe place is worth doing. And we sober coached thousands over the last years, and occasions like this are absolutely perfect, because at the end of the day, people on New Year's Day are going to wake up with a hangover. We want to wake up with a clear conscience, knowing we've had a good time, but we're still alive, because one drink for me could kill me. This is really, people say to me, I'm exaggerating, but it's not. My story is horrendous. One drink could kill me. This is a matter of life or death, period.
That's Robb Kelly, by the way, who co-hosts the Talking Sober Show right here on KLIF, Saturday nights from 11 till midnight.